Welcome to On the Chain. This is Jeff here, solo tonight on the chain, just back from Australia. Just realized that this says Mr. Freeze. What is up with that? That's hilarious. Come in. I know we were talking about something the other day, but we got a lot of stuff we want to get into, a lot of things to discuss. Going to do a recap of the wave of innovation. It was really amazing being out there in Australia with all of our family out there in Australia, all the community family out there in Australia. What an absolute blast that was. So we're going to get into that. Want to go in. There was a lot of development over the past couple days. SEC filed a motion for remedy and final judgment against Ripple. So we have some commentary on that. We also have the SEC with a final judgment on Coinbase. So it seems like big overreach in terms of what's going on with Coinbase, but there's commentary from different attorneys, plus from Brian Armstrong on the Coinbase. But I really want to dig into what's going on with Ripple and the $2 billion that the SEC is asking the court to take from Ripple, have them pay that as a penalty. We also had some issues going on, as everybody knows, with the XRPL. There was some discourse over the validity of using a canary network. Doesn't make sense. So we're going to get into that. I want to look really at the XRPL. Is the XRPL getting to a point where projects are fleeing the XRPL? And if they are fleeing the XRPL, what is the causation of it? And how do we get them back? How do we get these individuals? How do we get these projects back onto the XRPL? That is definitely a key issue that we want to discuss. Hey, give a quick shout out where you guys are tuning in from. If you're having any audio issues, if I'm having any audio issues, definitely let me know ASAP. Sometimes hard to do an audio check if I'm running solo. And on my side, it sounds loud and clear. I don't seem to have any audio issues going on here. But if you guys seem to have any reception issues, definitely let me know. Give a quick shout out to where you're tuning in from. That's awesome. What else are we going to dig into? There's something else I want to get into and kind of going through something about U.S. senators. Which senators are actually supporting crypto? Give a quick shout out to James Rule for posting that. So a lot of things to talk about. Kind of a short time to do it. Hopefully we can cover everything tonight. And with that, I think we got to kick this thing off. Let's get ready. Let's get ready for this thing because we are ready to go.
Welcome to On the Chain.
All right, on the chain. What is going on? We got people tuning in from X. We got people tuning in over here on YouTube. People tuning in on Rumble. If you want to watch us on Rumble, go and check us out over there on Rumble. Let me make sure I open up the Rumble chat so we can converse with all of our people over here on Rumble. Let me open this one up. And then we are going to dig in. There we go. We got Mel V and we have Davey X over here on Rumble. Let me pop this chat out real quick. And there we go. Perfect. All right. So give a quick shout out where you guys are tuning in from. And let's look at this. We got Fabio coming in from Australia. What is going on? Man, I had the pleasure to meet so many great people over in Australia this past week. I could go down the entire list, but it was such a pleasure going out there. Worth the 3 days that it takes us to get there, worth the 30 hours or so that it took to come back. Every part of the trip was just great. But a quick shout out to all those behind putting the wave of innovation together, the XRP Gold Coast 2024. They did such an outstanding job. And I do want to pull up and play some of the video snippets that they've been throwing up on YouTube if you haven't seen them already. But I want to start with this one. Let me see here. Let me go full screen. Let's pull this up. Let me share my screen so we can all watch this together. Kind of goes through a quick overview. There we go. Get some volume. Let me share the screen. Okay, let's pull this up. There we go. Now let's watch through this. This is make sure we got a little volume. Here we go. I like this video clip. I like how it's put together. Look at that wearable bull. Look at that panel discussion. Oh, it looks like Chip and I in the middle there. John Deaton. All right, that was really great. So that was just a short. Obviously, we were there for 2 full days, which was just just awesome. We had the pleasure to MC Chip and I MC the entire event. So there we were on the stage, getting the opportunity to introduce all the speakers, introduce the different roundtable discussions, and then Chip and I actually got to participate in one of them with Crypto Eddie, and it was great. Yeah, I can't say I want to really get into have the opportunity to share every last moment with everybody. So this is kind of let me see here. Oh, let me pull this up. Just gonna pull this one up. So this was kind of like this is the final act. This was on the way out, thanking those that organized and put this all together up here on the stage. And it was just great. But if you guys see the level of expertise and professionalism that went into this event, I go to a lot of conferences, and I've had booths set up at different conferences, sponsored lots of conferences, and this one was top notch. From obviously the decor to the way the vendors were set up outside, all the different sponsors showing up on the screen, the attention to the last bit of detail, the coloring and just like the detail up on the wall, the way even is sitting in the audience, the audio, the video, the visuals, everything, to me was just, super, super pro. The food, I have to say, the food was absolutely outstanding by far. Been to a lot of these conferences, and the food is just not good. And that's, to me, a big turnoff. A couple of things. Audio, visual has to be, stellar. If you can't hear people properly, you can't see, what's going on up on those screens, makes a major, major impact. So, man, and it's crazy. We got in yesterday. Chip and I flew back in, got in at like 5:30, 5:45 back into Miami. Got up, if we would have looked at it the day before, we left at 4:15 yesterday morning uh, from Gold Coast, had to fly to Sydney, from Sydney to LA, from LA to Miami. And when we got up at 4:15, it was really like 2:15 p.m. over the day before on Monday over here in Miami. And then so that whole trip, all the flying, I'm sure a lot of you guys have been through it, but it takes a toll on you going through that. Going there, I felt was even a little more trying because we had like an 8.5 hour layover in California, in LAX. And we hung out in the Centurion Lounge for like 8 hours, 8 hours, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So, all right. Let me get into some real details here. I want to talk. So I want to pull this up. Let me see. I've got the post from James Filan, and then Fred Rispoli has commented on a lot of this. I have a lot of attorney feedback on what on what we've seen here lately. So let's pull this up, and I want to pull. Here it is. There we go. Two really important documents that we have to look at. So this is going to be the first one. First one that we want to look at right here is James Filan commenting, because what just happened over the past couple days here was this big filing from the SEC against Ripple. And then we've seen something happen also with Coinbase. So here's the beginning part of it. And this was James Filan. This was posted up here on the 25th March. I don't even know what day it is today. Today's the 27th. Completely lost track of that. But here you have the SEC has filed its motion for remedies and entry of final judgment. So they want huge damages out of Ripple and a final judgment. And so here we go. This is where it's going to get really interesting. So what kind of feedback are we going to get? Because guess what? We're going to look through the motion. Now, what if you, and I'm sure a lot of you guys have already seen, some of the things that they've put into this. Not sure if you've read through the whole thing. And we can kind of get into some of the finer details of it, the commentary of it from the different attorneys. But as I read through this, and they just posted this last week on the 22nd. So let's see here. What are they looking for? Okay, so let's kind of drill down of how many pages of discussion, all these different court cases they want to discuss and bring up and so here we go. We get into all the different, they want to order them to pay all these civil penalties and just like these ridiculous numbers that they get into. But this isn't really what I want to get into. And I know you guys have seen these posts up there already, but this is going to all the legalese. We'll read some of the legal commentary on this in a minute because they get into some precedent cases and things like that. But what we want to look at is the shout out to the community. So obviously they go to the Ripple blog that they have. They show that in exhibit, but then they go through all the different things Ripple's talked about, their market analysis, and all of that, all the things we like to read through. Then we kind of drill down a little bit further into Exhibit 6. So when we get to Exhibit 6, this is where things kind of take an interesting direction, because I don't think we've ever seen in the history of the SEC, and I could be wrong. Maybe I'm completely off because I haven't read through all of their different motions or lawsuits. But we get into, what is it? Oh, look at that. Tweets. So now they're adding tweets or X posts, depending on what period of time they pulled these up from. Most of them are going to be from X, formerly known as Twitter. Now, here's some commentary from Charlie Gasparino, and Brad Garlinghouse making some comments here. Okay, I can get that. Here's a reporter. Here's the head of the company of Ripple, the one they're going after. So yes, let's put some posts from them. Maybe there's some relevancy. Maybe there's something Brad Garlinghouse is commenting on. Maybe there's something that he's saying. But starting off, if you look at some of the tweets that were here, this is from July 14th. And so Charles said, I wanted no interview, never asked. Eleanor Tara did, because she's the axe on the Ripple beat. But we are now doing a story on how much Ripple will be paying, if any, to settle part of the SEC case. If lost, where are they getting it? From the balance sheet, XRP sales, etc. Now, Brad Garlinghouse chimed in. Charlie, happy to come into the studio anytime to discuss the facts. Any attempt by the SEC to paint this as some sort of split victory is pathetic. They lost on everything that matters, as many lawyers have noted, not just Ripple's. Now, obviously, that was coming off the victory. XRP was declared a non-security. Now, here's the SEC doing the SEC things, and they're coming after Ripple again. Obviously, they weren't finished at that point, but some of the key outcome that we saw over the summer, essentially, the SEC lost. Now, as we drill back through, they're using this as an exhibit. Now, this, to me, it's like, hey, great. He's talking about, the loss by the SEC. They're obviously bitter, so they're going to take some of the things that they didn't like, and they're going to post it here. Now, here's Brad Garlinghouse. To your question here about potential penalties, that's up to the court to decide, not the SEC. You very well know this case was never about fines or penalties. It was about establishing the non-security status of XRP. We won, they lost. And that's it. That was really the point in case. Now, obviously, the SEC was not satisfied with that kind of commentary. Therefore, they're going to post it here as an exhibit, and we kind of get what we're going to get from them. So now let's move on. Sorry, my phone is buzzing like crazy, so I want to make sure it wasn't anything urgent, like the one day that we are streaming, and all of a sudden the stream terminated midstream. So all right, let's go. We'll kind of drill down. It's kind of funny because some of the things they decide to post here, but here's Bull Run Wonka, toss them, Brad, put them right in the garbage. They're talking about Gasparino. Go back to Fantasyland. Gasparino. So it's just funny to see some of the commentary here. And the thing is, it's not over, right? So they post more. And obviously, we're going to talk about here. We're going to win this thing because we're the good guys. This is Mr. Intuitive. And so you get a little bit of more commentary on everything going on. And it's interesting, too, because these are recognizable people in the space. Here's XRP Crypto Wolf. Here's Jungle Inc. Obviously, we look at this. I like this comment right away. XRP is not a security, and that's a fact. So again, what is the SEC seeking to gain by looking at some of this commentary that's published here? I like this. How do you like this one? Get it? I'm not obsessed with anything. And then let's see, XRP not a security. That's all that matters. And this is great. I mean, I love all the different commentary. Now here's more. Here's you just look through them one by one by one by one. They love posting this stuff up here. Exhibit. So look at just pages and pages and pages of Twitter comment, X comment. So let's see. I mean, it's the same thing. So the question that I have is, what exactly is the purpose of the SEC if it's not to protect all of these individuals that are commenting in here that have invested in something? The full purpose of the SEC, their use case, so to speak, is that the SEC is there to protect individual investors from the overreach of corporation and their specific laws to make sure that they're protected from that. The SEC at this point has now gone out for some reason to use all of this commentary of individuals that are coming to the defense of a company, Ripple. Many of them signed on to the intervention that John Deaton had filed in the case against the SEC. That impact, that movement of 76,000 individuals from around the world that joined on to participate, that movement must have had some bearing on the decision from Judge Torres that ruled at the end that XRP is not a security in the secondary market. Now, is the SEC trying to prove its case? Are they trying to pinpoint that, or are they trying to single out retail investors once more, like they did before? This is like right in the beginning of their filing. They singled out retail investors. I remember there was a statement in there, something about those that invest in XRP aren't that savvy, aren't that intelligent, or financially savvy, whatever their statement was. But there's something that the SEC attorneys decided to wrap up in this entire case. And it's just so crazy. It really is crazy as you drill through all of this. Now that was exhibit 6. Now we're in exhibit 7, and it keeps going on and on. So here's Brad Garland. It's been less than a week since the decision dropped, and I'm still overwhelmed with gratitude for and hugely proud of this team, and an unequivocal win for Ripple and for crypto in the US. That's the bottom line. 3 years. 3 years the SEC came after Ripple, and Ripple fought back. Now, Chip and I talk about this a lot. There's things that Ripple does that we're not happy with, and we'll talk about that, and we discuss it. And there's a lot of things that they've done right in terms of the software and the product they're developing, and their defense of cryptocurrency and their defense of this digital asset XRP. all very key, all very critical to everything that's happening. One of the things that Brad Garlinghouse said in the beginning, that it's not about him defending himself or defending Ripple or defending XRP. It was them on the front line defending all cryptocurrencies. The one thing that Ripple and XRP then as a tie-in has that others, that Bitcoin, for instance, doesn't, is that there's a direct target. Ripple is a target. Ripple is a company. Ripple has customers. They make a product. They are generating revenues, loss, profit, whatever, doesn't matter. But they're a target of the SEC that they can come after. They can make statements about them. Coinbase is the other target that they can come after. They can make statements about. They can have wins and losses. They can have punitive damages against. They can hold accountable. They can do whatever, but it's a company. Again, Bitcoin as this far-reaching, entity doesn't have one single centralized component to which the SEC can target, whether it's connected or not connected. Is Ripple connected to XRP or not connected to XRP? And that's some of the things that the SEC is really fighting. And then we see what happened with the SEC against the library and Odyssey, that changed its name, how they basically devastated that company. What did the company do wrong other than trying to build in this space? Maybe they sold and they had in the outcome of it say, okay, well, you sold an unregistered security, go after that. But they're really, as we see what the SEC has been doing and what they continue to do, is something something that is really geared up towards the destruction of a specific marketplace, not the building up of the marketplace, not the support of individuals that are investing in the marketplace, not the furtherance of innovation in this marketplace, but they are specifically targeting this space to undermine, devalue, and at the end game seems to be the destruction of. And we see this coming from the interesting relationship that Gary Gensler and Senator Elizabeth Warren have had with all of this. You have two entities, two individuals. You have the SEC, and you have someone representing the U.S. Senate with Elizabeth Warren, who is extremely anti-cryptocurrency, also very anti-corporation, even though her money comes from the banking industry and big corporation, but she seems to be very against it. And then you have Gary Gensler, who also seems to be a big supporter of some of the banking infrastructure, but very much against the innovation that's been coming out for the past decade plus within the blockchain space and the crypto space. One of the things that we learned at this conference is that in Korea, the amount of adoption of use or investment in cryptocurrency is massive, and it's interesting as a percentage overall of probably population. It's like 50% of the population knows what the digital assets are and are probably invested in it, and a good number are probably invested in XRP directly. But it's just a matter of the sheer volume of how knowledgeable the population is in the new innovative asset class that has been developing over the past decade plus. They get the direction it's moving in. Korea, Asia in general, but like if you look at like Korea and Japan, they're lightning years ahead of where the US is in terms of technology adoption. And that, to me, that's been going on forever. I can remember when I was an undergrad years and years ago, before laptops, before all those things. And I remember there was this girl I knew from Japan, and she had a pen, and the pen would scan words, and it was a little handheld scanner. And it's like, yeah, I don't even know if we had scanners at that time, but she had a little handheld scanner. It's almost like it was from the future, because years later, when I was in graduate school, I got one, and it would scan. You could scan things in your book, and it was really interesting. And you scan it, and then you'd have to download it. But her scanner was, and this is early 90s, and so she would scan, and it would translate it from English into Japanese. This is early 90s. And I'm looking at that technology. It was futuristic technology as far as I was concerned here in the US. It was just it's crazy. So think about, all these years later, how much further they've developed and moved because they're willing to adopt technology. Where here, obviously we see what's going on in the US Congress, whether it's the House or the Senate, and we see fights. We see this ridiculousness going on where you have some that are in favor, some that are against, but those that are in favor, we see almost no progress being made, knowing that it's impactful, negatively impacting the growth of the space in the US and the fact that we're losing leadership positioning. Now, you would think, again, here's all these great people that are in this space that the SEC has decided, here's what we're going to do. We're going to single them out. I know I'm spending a lot of time on this, but this just got me. I look at this and I'm looking page after page after page of thing, and it's just kind of funny what they put through here, like stuff, these memes, and this is what the SEC has decided to add to their last motion. And there's people in here, you probably recognize them. There's Oscar Arneson. I'm not sure if you're on here tonight, but there you are. So, it's just on and on and on. And this was Exhibit 7, right? So let's get through Exhibit 7. I would love to read the legal document, but, we get caught up on this. I'm like, are you kidding? This goes right into the proper party announcement and everything. So kind of drill down. Let's get through Exhibit 7. Let's see if we can get to, look, it's just page after page after page. Exhibit 8. Here we go. And it continued. Exhibit 6, Exhibit 7, Exhibit 8. And it just goes on and on. So, I mean, right to this with, I mean, if the SEC would be serious and they're seriously looking to help to protect the investor, why would they do this? Why would they do things like this? It makes no sense to me, seeing this type of behavior. But maybe it does because their passion is totally misplaced. The direction that they're moving in, the things that the SEC is doing is contrary to what's good for this country. But I guess that also then is wrapped up with this entire administration as a whole, that they seem to be moving this country in the wrong direction. Unfortunately, when we see this kind of behavior, it doesn't just impact the United States, it's impacting the world. And from a global scale, we're seeing people that financially are being impacted because of this specifically. Now, here's Ted's life. They will for sure need the 2 billion after the bridge. Maybe this is all kind of part of the overall what they're trying to figure out. I don't know. It's just insane. Mr. Lee says, longtime subscriber, first time in the stream in a long time, and still a utility maxi. XRP to global domination. There you go, Mr. Lee. What's up with that? We got Paper Chaser. There's people I haven't seen in a while. Sophie, you haven't been in a while. And then it's been maybe a week or so, I think. But then we got like Paper Chaser. It's been a long time since we've seen Paper Chaser on. Robert Morris, too. What's going on, Robert? Got to meet Bullish Mr. K this weekend, which was really cool. So look at that. All the exhibits, just boohoo from the SEC. Seems very pathetic, really. I'm sure the judge sees through all the bullshit. So that's the other part of it. It's like, how is, I'm looking at all this stuff. How does the judge then look and say, is this a waste of time? Or is the judge going to look through all this and be like, why did you add, page after page after page, 3 exhibits of nothing but tweets from the community? What is the end goal? And, then we look at this, and we're going to talk more about this also, John Deaton versus Elizabeth Warren for the U.S. Senate. Thank God that's going on. It's just insane. Let's see what else we got here. Here we go. Bullish, Mr. Stalwarts of U.S. Congress are afraid of technological progress. It makes them irrelevant. It definitely makes them irrelevant. They might have been irrelevant before they started even. Jose is saying, if this 2 billion is granted by the court, Ripple will need to dump billions of XRP to pay the sanction. It's going to be interesting. Yeah, that definitely, It's Lucky Mo saying the SEC is reaching. I agree with that also. I think they definitely are reaching. They're looking for an excuse, but at the same time, at the exact same time, what did we see? We saw that they're also coming after Coinbase, and they're coming after Coinbase kind of with a vengeance. And we'll talk a little bit about that. But let me take a little segue, and then we'll get back into it. But I have a few other things I wanted to put up here. One of them, I thought I had this put up here already. Hang on. Yep. Keep looking at my other screen over here, and then I'm just turning in the chair. So here's John Deaton explaining why he is running against Senator Warren. And it was interesting when he was up on stage over the weekend with us. He was in Australia. That's right. John Deaton traveled to Australia. Here he is in the middle of a campaign, and he finds himself on stage at the Wave of Innovation, being loved by everybody over there. Really, really outstanding. But this is going to be key, right? Because here he is, again, running against Elizabeth Warren. Typically, when you have an incumbent in office that is almighty, all powerful, at least seems that seemingly has the support of the party and the people, they shouldn't be concerned. They shouldn't be worried about what's going to happen. Now, guess what's going to happen is that John Deaton is terrifying her, absolutely terrifying her. We go DJ Peter Voss. What is going on? So, all right. Well, let's play this. I'm dying to play this. But keep in mind that John Deaton is self-funding his campaign. If you have the wherewithal to help support and you want to see him beat Elizabeth Warren, he does have a tweet out here at the end. We put all of these onto our website to where you can go rewatch the video. You can listen in podcast form. Plus, you can read every single article that we've covered. You go to onthechain.io and check that out. But one of the things that we've learned about. Let me see here. Hang on a second. Oh, I spelled it wrong. Hang on a second. Just put this here. Here we go. I'm just trying to pull up this over here so you guys can check it out. But there you go. If you haven't been there yet, go to onthechain.io, go to podcasts, go to interviews, read about the hosts. You can watch stuff, see stuff. But when we post it, the last article will be posted here. We haven't been online since March 17th. What in the world is going on? But that's because then we flew to Australia that Tuesday. So, all right, let's go back to John Deaton over here. Now, why is he running against Elizabeth Warren? What is the passion that he has? Let's check this out. Let's listen to this.
Everyone, is John Deaton. Why would I take on Elizabeth Warren, one of the most entrenched Washington elites in D.C.? For two reasons. One, we need common sense, nonpartisan leadership in D.C. for someone who represents regular people. And two, because I can win. Some people mistakenly believe Elizabeth Warren can't be beat in Massachusetts, and it's simply not true. Her favorability rating is at 41% because she's only passed one bill in 12 years. If I could afford to self-fund this entire thing, I would, because freedom is on the line, but I can't. I need your help. So please, I'm trying to raise $1 million before March 31st, the end of the quarter. So go to johndeatonforsenate.com and give $25, $50, $100, $500, whatever you can afford, traditional payments or even crypto. Let's send a message to Washington and Senator Warren that the people are coming for that seat.
That's right. People are coming for that seat. And that is a strong message. Now, in order to donate to his campaign, you do have to be a citizen of the U.S. Can't take donations from international through his campaign directly. So here is, what do we got here? Rob McDermott. Look at this. Rob McDermott also was over in Australia and flew back yesterday as well, and suffering some jet lag. That's a problem, man. Yesterday I was here and it was like, oh, sorry. Yeah, I know the volume on that wasn't loud enough. It was super low, so we'll have to pump that up later if we can play it again. But let me me just minimize that. But there's so much to go through. Now, here's something else, and I want to post this because you have Congressman Warren Davidson. You guys know Congressman Warren Davidson because we talked about Congressman Warren Davidson a lot. Why do we talk about Congressman Warren Davidson a lot? Because Congressman Warren Davidson had been the primary sponsor of the Token Taxonomy Act. Now, had they put the token taxonomy actually in front of Congress, not just die in the Financial Services Committee, and it actually got traction, I don't think we'd be sitting here today in the position that we're in right now. But this was blocked by Maxine Waters. It was blocked by the blue team's power and influence at the time, and the weakness of resolve from the red team to not really push it through. And it was really unfortunate. Yeah. So I know. So just bear with me. He said some things about XRP. I don't know if he called it evil per se, but he's big into he's more on the Bitcoin side of things, and that was kind of early on. But he did come back and explain that as well. But he's grown. I got to believe that he's grown over time. Think about that initial period of time. There was a clear division: Bitcoin maxis versus everybody else. It was a little bit slightly different time, but anyhow, let's pull this up. And it's really critical here. And this is John Deaton saying, as a private citizen, as a candidate for U.S. Senate in Massachusetts, I'm calling for the resignation of SEC uh, uh, the SEC chairman, Gary Gensler. Under Gensler, the SEC is forgotten or intentionally abandoned its primary mission in protecting innocent investors. And that's what we were talking about earlier on, that the SEC is no longer acting to the purpose of its creation, the intent of its creation. It is now a bad actor in a space that is now attacking individual investors. So it seems par for the course, unfortunately, for the current administration and big government at large, where big government doesn't have a passion, desire, and they believe that they're no longer responsible for doing the job that they're supposed to do, which is protecting the civilian population, for protecting the citizens of this country. And in this case, the SEC's sole responsibility was protecting innocent investors, not DEI or ABC or whatever nonsense Gary Gensler deems that he's responsible for, and the power grab that he's attempted to do. And that's John Deaton running against for the U.S. Senate against Elizabeth Warren. And this is even more meaningful, being that Elizabeth Warren and Chair Gensler are buddies, right? They're best buddies. So now here you have Warren Davidson. Facts. Sadly, Congress has not yet solved the Gary Gensler problem or the structural flaws with the SEC. So we definitely have structural flaws. We definitely have Gary Gensler flaws, and there's things that need to happen, and it's really, really bad overall. So there's other crap that's been happening here. You guys recognize some of these names. I love as it pops up and the interaction, the space, but you mean you haven't solved the Gary Gensler problem? You're in Congress, right? You have the majority with subpoena and contempt powers, right? I agree. It's sad. Warren Davidson said, I don't have a majority. My party, my committee, yes, but 1 out of 435 doesn't even get a recorded vote on the issue. Send reinforcements, meaning elect other congressional representatives that are as passionate, can then also have more influence within the committees, more influence across the board. Even if you get something passed through Congress right now, you still have to go to the Senate. So obviously, there's still some major hurdles that we're going to have to overcome. But it's all happening. This stuff is unfolding now, and it's going to start unfolding faster and faster and faster, which, man, we'll see kind of the direction things going. Just some pictures here. Let me see what we got here. Hey, you guys got to see this one. Let me pause. You guys might have already seen this over here on on X, on Twitter. This is Waza, and who else is with him? See, thought I shared it. Hang on a second. This is trying to. All right, here. Let me put it up now. There we go. Now let's share it again.
Look at this. Put him in a head.
There you go. John Deaton and Waza. What is going on? Who else popped in here? I see XRP 369, and we got Lucky Lukey Mo popped in as well. No, we can't do that either. So you unfortunately cannot donate money or send money to one individual to then donate. Unfortunately, that is not doable. There's a lot. He definitely, he's doing the raise, lots of money. It's not easy to raise the money. And I think that as he starts making some progress and maybe reaching out more to the Trump circles, he'll make some massive progress. Really, really difficult. Another friend of mine is running for U.S. Congress right now, and he's made a couple attempts, and it's extremely, extremely difficult. And he just got some major endorsements this past week that he was super excited about. He called me up today, telling me which endorsements he got, which are really meaningful to his overall campaign. But that's it. You need money and you need endorsements. If you can get big endorsements from certain individuals, and John Deaton is definitely on his way getting some major endorsements. Now he's got to make that turn the corner a little bit on some of the fundraise, and we're going to see some really big things coming out with Deaton here pretty soon. So, all right, we went into we talked about, we saw filing. I want to go back and I want to look at some additional commentary from Stuart Alderati, who is attorney from Ripple. We'll look at Jeremy Hogan, had some commentary, and then Fred Rispoli. John Deaton has some commentary, and then we're going to look at some of the things that happen also with Coinbase as well. So let me add this up to the stage. All right, here we go. So Stuart Alderati, this is a couple days ago again. As you'll see, when the SEC's brief is made public tomorrow, they asked the judge for $2 billion in fines and penalties. Our response will be filed next month. But as we all have seen time and again, this is a regulator that trades in statements that are false, mischaracterized, and designed to mislead. They stay true to form here. Now, again, this isn't a major departure from the rest of the administration. It seems like it's packed, filled with misinformation, misdirection, mischaracterization, and then inefficiencies, inaccuracies, immoral. The list goes on and on, but it's all packaged real nicely. So it's not just one individual. The poison is actually pretty widespread at this point, and it's become completely systemic. So Stewart continues. Rather than faithfully apply the law, the SEC remains bent on wanting to punish and intimidate Ripple and the industry at large, right? And that's what we were saying in the beginning. And this goes back to the beginning of the case where Brad Garlinghouse was saying that it's not just about him, that whatever the outcome of the case is, it's going to impact the I would say community at large, but the industry, the crypto industry, the blockchain industry. It will have far-reaching effect and impact. Plus, it gives Chair Gensler some sort of a victory, as evil as scandalous as it may sound. That's all he really seems to care about. Stuart Alderati says, "We trust the court will approach the remedies phase fairly," and that's what else can you ask? It's like, here's kind of where we're at. Are they going to do it fairly? Are they going to is the outcome going to be similar to the outcome with Judge Torres, where so all right, let me go back up here. Hang on, I want to get Hogan. Let's get some Hogan commentary going here. Let's see here. Here we go. All right, did I leave it up? Okay, I left it up. Good. Okay, Jeremy Hogan summary. of SEC's remedy briefs. How dare Ripple not grovel before us? This is probably, the most poignant, straight on point that anybody has made so far. And it's one sentence. I couldn't have said it better than this. This is awesome. And that's it. Jeremy Hogan summed up the entire statement from the SEC. And this is it. How dare Ripple not grovel before us? And that's what Gary Gensler wants. That's what the SEC as an entity wants. They want to believe that they are the king of everything, and they want the peasants to grovel to grovel at their feet. Right. Instead of addressing some very large legal issues, it came across as a petty and vindictive, punctuated by ex posts as evidence, which is what we went through. Went through all those three exhibits worth, page after page after page after page of ex posts from the community, right? Not just from Brad Garlinghouse and maybe some of these posts that we're reading right now from Stuart Alderati, or maybe there's some other posts that, from David Schwartz. No, they took community posts and put them up there. And it just shows the demeanor and the demented mentality that these individuals have. And as they were writing up, can you imagine, Gary Gensler didn't write this thing up. They had all their attorneys and they're working up. And here they're putting all this thing together. And you would at least think that as an attorney, you believe somewhat that you have a case to win. And here they are reaching at straws, pulling in every little bit of garbage that they could possibly find, just everything. It's so amazing. They appreciate that, Sophie. Glad you were on with us. And yes, hit the like before you leave. We'll catch you on the next one. Definitely do that. If you're over on Rumble, make sure you guys click that over on Rumble. If you are on YouTube, make sure you click it on the YouTube. If you're on Twitter, not sure if you can like it on Twitter when you're watching it, but I think you can. I believe so. Man, so here's Jeremy. I think they wanted to include the entire thread and also show pics of Garlinghouse celebrating. Yeah, what exactly does he want? Like, what was their total objective? They're showing they're trying to catch him out there. Then just look and get some pictures of him celebrating. Just put stuff on Gensler, or on not Gensler, on Garlinghouse. It's crazy. So let's wait until Ripple's brief. That'll be exciting when we see that. We're going to have to get Jeremy Hogan on the show so we can decipher it. I'd say, hey, we'd get John Deaton and Jeremy Hogan. I want to bring John Deaton up, but I'm sure he's super busy right now going through this, everything that he's working on. But Jeremy Hogan, we'll reach out to Jeremy Hogan. We'll bring him on when the Ripple brief comes out, and we'll have him tear that up and really dissect it and, get into exactly, what we're getting from them. I think they have some strong arguments for pretty much zero. That's it. But the zero, right? We're getting nothing out of these guys, out of the SEC. It's like, come on. All right. So that's our buddy Jeremy Hogan. Now let's dig in here because we've got the SEC overreach. Now let's look. We've got Fred Rispoli has some comments on this as well. This is great. I love seeing it kind of how people are kind of thinking through this, dissecting it, seeing kind of where we're going with everything. Because Fred Rispoli has commented. This is James Filan filed his. Fred was saying, thanks, James. Here are my takeaway on this one so far. Very eager to see how Ripple attack these arguments. And here he's saying to the XRP community, the SEC's motion for judgment has been publicly filed. And here the SEC is following the playbook I outlined 2 months ago. And I guess he's got a whole chain here we got to open up here. So let's try to open up his chain of his thread, I should say. Legally, not much in here that we didn't already guess. Factually, there's a very important motion. I'll take it from what I think is most important to at least. First, credit to the SEC. It realized that it needs to show how investors were actually harmed. Interesting. Yeah. Okay. So have already said the SEC's motion is full of mischaracterization. Let's hope this is correct. because the picture painted is not a good look for Ripple and lends credence to the XRP haters on why the price is so low, namely the deep discounts by Ripple on XRP sales. So we'll have to see how Ripple is going to come back and explain some of that as well. On page 18, numbers are redacted, but if discounts are wide enough, then institutional buyers like GSR scored unbelievable discounts that have bags upon bags of XRP that they could continually sell at astronomical profit if accurate. Retail buyers continue to be the liquidity. Now, if that's the case, if that does come out, that changes the narrative considerably. If we see that Ripple has, given steep discounts, knowing that XRP is going to end up in the hands of retail buyers at higher price points, and then there's always a buyer and seller, right, of every asset. So even when we're watching the GameStop saga a couple years ago, and GameStop was going parabolic crazy up to the 400, whatever it was at, and then people were buying at that price, and people were taking profits at that price, and the people buying were hoping that it would go up a lot further, and hopefully they weren't the ones caught holding the bag when it turned around and came back the other way. So sometimes for every winner, there could potentially, I'm not saying there always is, but there could potentially be a loser on the other side. And that doesn't always happen with stocks or with crypto asset as it continues to rise, especially since it's very speculative. Nobody really knows, and you can't really fault someone that's going to be investing in and then saying, look, I've reached my point and now I'm ready to take profit and I'm out. And then someone else is coming in and saying, hey, I'm good at that price. I like it. I like XRP at $100. I like XRP at 50 cents, whatever it's at. I like Bitcoin at 70,000. I see Bitcoin's going to keep growing until it's 100,000, 150,000. So 70,000, still a discount. And if I'm buying fractionalized numbers of within Bitcoin, I'm not buying a whole Bitcoin. You're buying Satoshi's fractional amounts of Bitcoin, and it goes up 20%, 30%, 40%. You're still getting gains on your fractional investment. So that's still good for, they see the growth part of it. So is there always a loser? Not necessarily, but sometimes there could be. If you knowingly go into a situation where you got the discount and then that you're going to be dumping it or selling it on the open market for a higher price. Oh, you know what that sounds like? Pre-IPO. That's what that said. That's exactly what that sounds like. You put a stock that goes in pre-IPO, only certain people, accredited investors, can buy pre-IPO. Oh, what happens to distribution pre-IPO? How about those distributions that are going out at discounted prices, knowing that by the time it gets to retail, they're going to dump on retail at a major profit? This stuff wasn't just made up, this whole saga, this scenario that acts like this, but then can Ripple be somehow tied into something like Fred Rispoli is saying, that they purposely, knowingly gave them, discounts, and they knew they were immediately going to be selling it for big profit numbers, similar to a pre-IPO. If you could buy something pre-IPO, they always launch it. It launched at $29. No, when it launched at IPO, it was $60. It was $70, whatever it was. It wasn't 29. Yes, the pre-IPO guys got it 29. Supposedly, it was a $29 launch. But when the market opens with a stock, it's $59. And retail gets to buy at $59. They didn't buy at $29. Then the market goes up. Craziness. I remember Roblox. It was such a big deal to get in. I was so fired up on buying Roblox, and worked out well for a little while. But now it's kind of at a low point, but went up to a nice high point. There's all these little examples out there when you go into that IPO craze. Anyhow, it's kind of a side note, but I really hope Ripple has a good explanation for this, because otherwise it plays into the major FUD happening right now. Second, Ripple is continually selling XRP post-complaint and post-summary judgment. No surprise, but SEC claims the financial discovery it received by court order demonstrates this is by far and away Ripple's primary source of revenue, and Ripple is still signing contracts with institutional buyers, 80 contracts since complaint and significant numbers since summary judgment ruling, which is good for Ripple. Third, the motion will determine where ODL, on-demand liquidity, falls on whether unlawful sale or permitted sale. stakes are very high here, and we have to hope. I think that's the on-demand liquidity. I'm assuming that's not an abbreviation for something else. We have to hope Ripple has sufficiently changed its business practice to account for the Torres ruling. Fourth, I thought Ripple was in the low 40s or high 30s in billions of XRP. I believe they were still in the high 40s or mid 40s. So yeah, 45 billion. I thought it was like 48, but it's 45. They haven't sold out a huge amount. Each time they pull out, they'd use like 100 million or something like that and put the majority of it back. High 30s in billions of XRP, but it's more 45 billion. Fifth, SEC relies on library a lot, but the amount sought by the SEC ended up being small fraction of what the SEC was granted. At the same time, it ended library as a company, destroyed them. That was their whole plan from the beginning. They wanted to destroy the company. They didn't want to save the company. They didn't want to save innovation. They didn't care about what was going to happen overall with the outcome. It was super, super measured activity, super measured action to where they wanted to dismantle the company. They're going after crypto at large. So, all right, what do we have here? Look at this. Man, Espresso. Is this live right now? Not 100% sure. It could be live. Not 100% sure. So we'll have to figure it out as we kind of progress through this to see if we're live or not live. Not 100% sure, but this could be a repeat, and I'm just forecasting that you would say that and post in your comment. So what do we have here? Bottom line, this motion is enormous, is of enormous consequence, and the pettiness of the SEC. And here we go right there. See that? Crypto terrorists again are at work. Thank you, Alchemist. There you go. Sell on cartoon bear heads. We got to love the cartoon bears. So, okay, bottom line, the motion is enormous consequence, and the pettiness of the SEC leads me to speculate on the two options on how this ends. One, the amount ordered by court is low enough and rulings on newly structured sales favorable enough to Ripple that there is a final settlement after the ruling. I'm not putting this at 40% odds. More likely is this will come out favorable to Ripple on the amount of money owed, but the Ripple takes hits on what is allowed going forward, meaning this is going to appeal to the second, and it's going to keep going. It's not over yet. We knew it wasn't over. We knew there was more. When it ends is when Gary Gensler is gone, and you put a chair in there that is more cognizant of what it takes for innovation, and instead of going with these punitive measures and just kind of these imbecilic ideas of how they're going to attack the company and undermine this state in general. Just crazy. All right, we're going to pull up another one. So where do we leave off? Fred Rispoli. Okay, here we go. I saved the best, my favorite one right here. Even though I like that one a lot too. No, I pulled this one up. This is this was a comment that came from Crypto Law from John Deaton's group there. And so this was when it was first posted. I should have led with this one, but here's Brad Garlinghouse saying the SEC plans to ask the judge for $2 billion in a case that involved no allegations, let alone findings of fraud or recklessness. There is absolutely no precedent for this. We will continue to expose the SEC for what they are when we respond to this, the fraud that they are. Right, that's what we should be hearing. Now, Crypto Law says the SEC plans to seek $2 billion in remedies from Ripple for $700 million in institutional sales of XRP to qualified investors. So the qualified investors, there's no fraud, no harm. The investors, so here again, no fraud, nor any harm to those investors was alleged, just a failure to register. Now, while all this stuff is going at the very same time, we see all sorts of problems with JP Morgan, on and on and on. It's just Deutsche Bank, Bank of America. We've read through those so many times to show the amount of fraud and deception at the banking level, and they say, okay, pay your millions of dollars in fine, except the one had to pay like $1 billion. It was pretty big. But it's just crazy for the retail investors who suffered $15 billion in losses from the SEC's failed embodiment theory. Nothing, zero, zilch, like nothing. So they want $2 billion. Where's that $2 billion going? 15 billion. If you want to right the ship, then say, hey, you know what? These investors lost something as a direct result of Ripple activity. And if that was their if that was their initiative, their agenda, say we're there to protect the retail investors because they lost so much money, not because of what we, the SEC, did by shutting down the progress, the bull run that the entire market was on. XRP was at $1.20. It was moving as the market was moving. The market was trending. There was all this excitement in the marketplace that we could have been at a completely different spot right now. 3 years the SEC has dragged Ripple through the mud and the entire industry through the mud due to this uncertainty, regulatory uncertainty. The US Congress and the SEC have done more damage to this space. And granted, this is a blip in our history of this space, right? Once we overcome this and we don't see a destruction of the company based on everything that they're working on, everything they've done, I think, yeah, we're definitely going to be making some progress. But anyway, I'm gonna finish through this one. Let me get over to some of the commentary here right quick. We got Grant Davis. We have the ICAC here in Australia. Doesn't the U.S. The Independent Commission Against Corruptionally investigates government employees? That would be nice. I'm sure we have something like that. I don't know. I don't even know what it is. In Congress, it's vote them out. But apparently, when you try to vote them out, they can subvert the election system, and then all of a sudden they stay. These people stay in power forever, and they end up multimillionaires multiple times over. There's Brian Hume. What's going on? Bullish Mr. K. Jeff, a true pleasure meeting you and Chip. Looking forward to XRP Gold Coast 2025. What are we going to be celebrating then? I don't know. We're going to celebrate true victory. We're going to celebrate some great things. It was really a pleasure meeting you as well over there in Australia, and thank everyone there for their amazing hospitality as well. So, man, that was a ton of stuff. We went through a lot. So what I'm gonna have to do is on what's today? I don't even know what today is. Today's Wednesday. So Saturday, what we'll do is go through and we're gonna dissect a little bit into the SEC Coinbase. There's some good commentary there from Alderati, from Bill Morgan, from Fred Rispoli, from Brian Armstrong himself. Then we'll get into, I thought we'd have time to get into the XRPL, what's going on there. There was some interesting discourse over the Canary Network, good, bad. Crypto Eddie got in it. Vitsi Vin got in it as well. Then we have some stuff from Bob Rass over the XRPL, a company that's leaving the XRPL, and what's the actual fix for the XRPL. Lots of stuff to get into yet, and we'll dig into that on Saturday morning, which will be awesome. I mean, that would be great. And so, wow, we had a good number of people here. We got people tuned in from X, Rumble, and YouTube. I lost my Rumble feed over here a long time ago, but we had some little bit of conversation. Man, I want to see like some massive conversation over on Rumble like we have over here, like we have on YouTube. I'm trying to figure out, before we part ways here, I want to go through this and see, where did the Rumble go? Why can't I find Rumble? I just want to pull up. That's I don't know where it went. I think I might have closed it by mistake, but I thought it was here. Thought I had it open. Not seeing it now. I've got the Waza thing open, and it won't let me get out of that. Oh, there we go. That's probably why it was blocking it. And then I've got all these other things open. There, I'm going to go back to this, though. This is good, kind of as a parting gift for everybody. onthechain.io. Make sure you guys check us out on onthechain.io. Makes it real easy to find the podcast, find it in audio form, video form, all those great things. And then if you're over here also, make sure, and we're really hoping to bring this to Australia with us. And I'm hoping maybe next time we'll be able to do it. I would love to have had some badass YETIS coffee over there as well. We want to help support the channel. go to badassyetiscoffee.com, right? Go to badassyetiscoffee.com. You can check us out. You can help us out. You can get some Badass Yetis. It's really, really good. I love it. I get the Obsidian Bold. These are my two favorite. This is the darkest roast right here. It's strong. If you get one of those little machinettas, the stovetop espresso roasters, hook it up with that. You'll love it. They roast it the day you order it. They package it up and ship it out. That's where it's unique. That's where it's special. Everything else, they just kind of, they dry, they vacuum seal it, and then that's it. And that's how that one goes. So a lot of cool things. And then, of course, we've got the Badass Yetis, Blue Yetis, White Yeti Tribe. Going to finish up the Yowies, hopefully over the next few weeks. And then we have we'll have some interesting news coming down the pipeline with those Badass Yetis as well. So lots of cool things in development, lots of excitement here. You guys are amazing. I'll tell you what, everybody over here is Mo Meta Media. What's going on? We got to go check that out. Go check out Futureverse. If you guys haven't been to Futureverse, go check out Futureverse. And you got those rabbits and all sorts of cool things. Love the Futureverse. So I'm going to be digging into that, and then just all the technology that's going on that side. They got some really interesting technology. So, man, we saw so much, even like with the X Spectre and seeing the development with their metaverse over there. It's very cool things. Now, did you lick a cane toad? I did not. No. A cane toad. You know what? I don't know how long it takes to get to Belgium, honestly. We set up for international shipping, and for some reason people have tried to order and it doesn't let them order. So we got to go back through again and figure out why the international order system isn't working. You can try again, see if it does it, but it goes by regular post. I think you can do more rapid shipping too to get it over there. So it might take, if you can ship it to Belgium, it probably takes 10 days, I would think. Yeah, I don't know exactly how long it takes to get over there. So it's a good question. It is a very, very good question. But man, it's an hour 7 already. You guys are awesome. Tell you what, appreciate everybody that's here with us tonight. Again, really appreciated meeting everybody we did in Australia. It goes like this. It goes US, number 1 number of followers, and then Australia, number 2. One thing that I'm personally committed to now is being more engaged on Twitter. We want to get people going on the Telegram chat. We've got all these great things. We have a Discord channel for the Badass Yetis. So all of that, and I'm powered up here. Why? Because what is it? It's like 11 a.m. over in Australia. So my body is still like working on that time zone. So yeah, won't be going to XRP Vegas. That's not going to happen. Will it be at 58 cents? Then there you go. Tell you where I will be though. I will be back in Australia for XRP Gold Coast 2025. That's where I will be. That would be awesome. So that's it. That's what I got. Oh, sorry, man. There's so many things that keep coming up. Andrew Smith, thank you for putting that. Hit like and buy John's book if you don't live in the States. Yeah, definitely. If you can get his book, definitely buy his book. That'd be outstanding. That'd be really, really great. His book, he came up and was talking about the book. The publisher came out and was talking about his book, and and then John started a publishing company over there when they had to get it out there. It was just really, really cool to see so many great things going on. So Mike, great show. Time for some Yeti coffee. Appreciate it. Good night, everybody. You guys are amazing, and we'll check you guys out on the next one. Jeff, Chip, where's Chip? Chip's not here. Jeff, out. I'm out. How do there we go. I'm out. Let's go.
Are you down with OTC? Please like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when the next video drops.